Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello, hello. Can you talk for me, Emily?
Mic check 1 2 3 4. Mic check 1 2 3 4
Let me
5
boost
6.
you a little bit. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
1 2 3.
Hello, hello, hello. These are so hard.
Digital.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome into today's digital newscast. I'm Noelle Ford. I have Emily Girsch here with me because we got this report that we've been waiting for quite some time, Emily. It's about the Joint Office of Homeless Services. So can you walk us through? I noticed, the biggest thing was not enough shelter for the need that we have.
Yes, so a lot of info in this 33-page report, Noelle. Some of the highlights that I picked out is that this audit, which was done by the City of Portland auditor, shows that the JOHS budget can only provide housing for 60% of unhoused homeless people. That's according to their 2024 budget. We also had a chance to speak with the JOHS director yesterday because he went before the Multnomah County Board to give an update on the budget. I was able to speak with him after. I asked if he approved of the mayor's camping ban, which, as we know, he updated the ordinance earlier this month, which would ban camping only when alternate housing is available. And I asked the JOHS director, housing is only available for 60% of unhoused people in Portland. Do you think that this camping ordinance is fair? Do you think it's practical? He referred me back to the mayor's office. I said, I'm not asking the mayor, I'm asking you. You're the executive director of JOHS, but we couldn't get a clear answer from him. But it was clear, however, that he did not overwhelmingly support this move by
the camping ban?
By the mayor, yes.
So
correct, because of a lack of housing.
Okay, so he said because, there's not enough shelter for everyone, he doesn't support the camping ban?
Correct,
okay.
Yes.
And then are you going to speak with the mayor about this? Is that your plan? No, you said that you reached out yesterday.
We reached out yesterday. His spokesperson did not directly answer the question, just that he was looking forward to going through the audit with JOHS. They have been applying some of the recommendations and looking at their budget carefully on where they can provide more housing. But he did not respond to anything involving the camping ordinance other than it was approved by City Council, and as far as they knew, this was a legal law to draft.
Well, one thing that I noticed when I looked through the audit just a tiny bit, they had some new goals for 2025. So I want to bring some of those up there on the screen for you. So yeah, I found this online, and I really, the bottom one, increase exit into permanent housing by 15%. I think that that is a very important topic to touch on because, you know, the goal is not shelter, it's permanent housing. We want to get those people into permanent housing and do all we can. So, yeah, that was some great information they found there at least.
Yeah, the audit went into detail about that and said, you know, providing immediate shelter is extremely important as a first step, but it's also important to have a plan in place to transition people into permanent housing, and more effort needs to be made to achieve that goal.
I know, it's so important. Then shelter housed 2,699 people. So really, they need to focus on the shelter side of housing and also on permanent housing. I mean, there's a lot of work to do for sure.
A lot for sure. A couple other things that were brought up is, you know, other than immediate shelter and then transition to long-term shelter, they also want this joint office to continue to design programs to achieve racial equity goals. We know that there is a disparate number of minorities who are on the streets unsheltered, and so there are efforts being made to sort of reduce that racial disparity there as well. So very interesting report. It's 33 pages long.
Yeah,
it's available
long.
publicly if anyone wants to read it. We can have a link to it on our website later today.
Yeah, perfect, Emily. And I know that you will be out digging through this, getting some more information. So be tuned in for Emily's story. It'll be probably at 4, 5, 6 tonight.
Yep, 4, 5, and 6.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Emily, and we're looking forward to seeing that.
You're welcome.
And the next story that I want to talk about with you guys, this is something that we have been covering for quite some time. The Salem-Keizer School District and the budget cuts that they're facing. So the school board approved $40 million in cuts last night. And yeah, this is something they have been talking about for a while. That's on top of the $30 million that were previously approved. Nearly 400 jobs could be cut. So the superintendent says school leaders have a week and a half to build their school schedules. Then the district is going to consult with the unions to make cuts in accordance with their contracts. The district's going to notify staff affected by those cuts in mid-May.
Learning about changes in their life. We have to give them space for that news. We set a standard that we would do this with as much humanity as possible.
And the board adopted another motion last night. So that motion would prioritize reinstating students-facing positions. So like any position that works with students, that's going to be their priority. If the legislature allocates more money to the state school fund. So yeah, big story that we will be tracking for sure. These budget cuts are definitely going to affect students. All right, and then take a look at your screen right now. The primary election is coming up. So voter registration deadline, that is on April 30th. You have about 2 weeks for that. If you want to vote in the election, you got to get out there and get registered to vote. Important for the primary election, that is also your deadline to select or change your party affiliation. Ballots for the primary are going to be mailed to voters on May 1st, and then Election Day is the 21st. We have more information about ballot issues, races, candidates. That is all over on our website, KATU.com. All right, and now we are going to switch gears and talk about our weather forecast. But before we do that, there's no reasoning. I just really want to show this because it is beautiful. It is a beautiful live shot we have of Mount Hood out there. So Sarah, tell us, what are we looking at with Mount Hood?
Well, first of all, let's just go skiing.
Yeah,
right?
honestly,
we got snow up
it might
there.
be too hot.
Well, it's not slushy yet, but it's close. That is a beautiful shot. I want to just stare at that all day. As far as the weather goes, though, today you might have noticed it was extremely chilly this morning. We did have a frost advisory. That's because those clouds weren't holding in the temperatures. So we had that sunshine, then clear skies, and then frost. But now that we have that sunshine hanging around, we really will warm things up. So that's good news. We got high pressure in the forecast for the next few days, all sunshine, temperatures in the 70s. It's really not till Saturday that we may see a tiny little sprinkle, but still not chilly, still 70 degrees. So we're looking at some nice spring weather for the next few days.
Yeah, it's looking good
Yeah,
out there.
can't
I'm
complain about
excited.
that at all.
And speaking of the nice weather, it might be day to go out, maybe enjoy a soccer game. But
Oh, right, the
that leads
Thorns.
us, into our next story. And Sarah, you're going to talk a little bit more about this one because you were a soccer player for Oregon.
I
I never played soccer in my life. So
Yeah.
the Thorns, though, they have a shakeup in leadership, a pretty big one.
This surprised me even, yeah.
So the Thorns, they have gotten rid of their head coach. They didn't have a really good start to the season. They haven't had a win yet. So the club announced that they're moving head coach Mike Norris to the technical director role. Assistant coach Rob Gale is going to take his place as the interim head coach. And then Thorns general manager Karina LeBlanc says the move is going to maximize the team's strength. But the club does now have to search for a new head coach, Sarah.
Yeah,
So
this is
that's
kind of
gonna
crazy.
be a big search.
Yeah, and this is only that we've lost the first, 2 games, and then we tied 1 game. So to them, that means we're having a terrible start. So they're really switching things around. What surprised me is we have this interim coach who's our assistant coach. But instead of just having him stay here, we're actually looking for another one. So my question, I researched this, is like, what is Mike?
Yeah, the
what's
technical
his
director.
new
Yeah,
job?
yeah.
So basically, he's really good at scouting, developing the talent, talent acquisition, finding the players, and then player development. That's kind of mainly what he's going to focus on. That's what he's really good at. So the good news there is it's not like animosity or anything towards him. He gets to keep his position. But the question is, who's going to fill the shoes? So I found a list of who they're looking at, okay?
Oh, wow.
Our former coach, Mark Parsons, used to coach the Thorns, and he went off and he was coaching in the Netherlands. Now he's back. People have seen him in Portland. So he's the most obvious choice.
That would make sense.
The other choices that are kind of similarly, sort of obvious would be Sarah Loden. She's already an assistant coach there. But she also was twice the interim head coach for Houston, who we're playing on Saturday. And so she has experience in that realm, so that's a possibility. We also have Julian Sitch, who was the very first female coach to ever lead a men's team in the NCAA
Oh, that's
to a
awesome.
championship
Wait, that's
at
so
Loyola,
cool.
Loyola University. So she is a possibility, too, which would be kind of interesting. I'd love to see that.
I mean, those are all great contenders there.
Yeah, so it'll be
that'll
interesting to see
exciting.
what happens.
I know a lot of people are really interested in this one.
Yes,
so
yes.
Thank you for that, Sarah. That is all of our time for right now, but I did want to talk about what we are working on for you today. So like we had Emily on earlier, she's going to be looking into that audit a little bit more and, seeing the goals for housing for the next year. And then Allison Gutlieber is going to be doing a story on renewable energy and, it's important and how we are growing that industry around us. Stay tuned. Those are going to be at 4, 5, and 6 today. Have a great day, everyone.
This has been a KATU News DigiCast. KATU News is on your side.